Hey, it's Martin Cliffe, and welcome to another episode of Music, Minimalism and Mental Health. And I just wanted to talk in this episode about how I wish I'd discovered enough earlier. Enough is a concept that is kind of the building block on which I'm building a lot of my life at this stage in terms of living more intentionally, in terms of my faith, my music, my belonging, everything else. Enough is kind of a sort of key thing behind most of what I do. And it's funny because if I look back kind of at my minimalism journey, if you will, it was probably around about 4 or 5 years ago that the concept came to me. But then yesterday I was looking through my Facebook memories and discovered a post. I don't spend much time on Facebook these days, but back in 2010, I think it was, I wrote a post saying about how I wish that I'd spent more time focusing on the music and the love of music rather than the gear and the love of gear. And that struck me as slightly ironic considering what happened in the years in between then and now. And I don't know exactly when I started to struggle with some of the concepts of consumerism and just, I've always kind of had a collector's mentality, and that's been something that has been a real battle for me to overcome. But I don't know, I can't put a date on when things stopped making sense and when things started to make sense. I have had periods in my life when I have just brought in so much stuff that much of which was potentially unnecessary, or much of which was definitely unnecessary. And then there have been periods of my life when I've tried to kind of steer clear of that and kind of go down a different route. And that's kind of whether it's related in any way to my mental health. I'm not sure. It probably is. But it seems that these kind of waves have come and gone through life, and I think over time I've become more somebody who has an issue with consumerism and with bringing stuff in. And certainly at this stage, I think I've kind of settled into this routine of basically purging the unnecessary, never seeking to deprive, but always kind of seeking to get to the point where I have enough and no more. I'm a long way from that. I've made tremendous progress over the last 3 or 4 years, maybe 5 years, but there is still so much. And life in Asia, particularly in Hong Kong, in the nature of the life that we had, did not do me any favours in many ways. Don't get me wrong, we were very blessed. We had, it was a real kind of moment that changed our lives moving there. But at the same time, it made it too easy to go down routes that, looking back, I really wish I hadn't done in terms of acquisition of stuff. And there are things that I'm still struggling with today from that. Obviously music gear is a significant one. I did a pedal purge last year. I purged guitars, but I still have far more than I need, and I kind of need to continue doing that. And it can be quite a lot of work. It can also be a bit of a hassle because of basically having to take stuff back to the UK to sell, because of complicated reasons. It's difficult to sell stuff here, and that's just a part of life. But having to take stuff back and deal with it. But it's not just the guitar gear. It's like, why do I have 9 watches when I only really wear 2 or 3? Because at one point I decided, I've got some spare money, I like watches, let's buy some more watches. So I think I bought 3 at one point, which was a completely ridiculous purchase. And I really regret making that. Now, it was 2019, I think it was, that I did that, and it's like I'd already kind of got to grips with this concept of minimalism at this point. I'd already kind of saw that as something, but then I had a lapse, and the issue with somewhere like Amazon is you can literally just click buy, and then within 3 days or whatever it is, it's with you. And I didn't really have to think about things like that at that point in my life. Now I do. Now our financial situation is vastly changed. We are far from poor, but at the same time, life is different. We have a lot less spare money, and that's good, because that's kind of helping me to. It kind of helps resist any of the urges that I might have to buy new stuff, because I simply can't afford to buy new stuff. As well as that's another reason I'm doing this no buy year challenge. But it's been a tough thing, and I haven't talked very much. I kind of mentioned it in passing about the Lego, and the Lego is something that I'm really, on a day when I'm maybe a bit down or a bit emotional, I get really stressed about, because it's such a monumental task to work out how to deal with moving it on. It is difficult to think about how I would potentially sell it. I'm just not in that place at the moment of knowing exactly what the right path to be is. I need to take some time, maybe when my mood's a little bit lighter, maybe in the spring, to kind of work out, and maybe take some sets apart and bag them up so that they're ready to move on, or something like that. I just don't know how to deal with that aspect of the excess. Now, we are at the moment considering seriously and kind of prayerfully, and trying to work out in terms of stages of our life, we are thinking about downsizing our accommodation. We have this large 3-bed apartment here in Bucharest, which was a real blessing last year when the Ukraine war started. The invasion happened, and we were able to welcome people into our home. But at the same time, when it's just Eva and I, this place is too big for us, and it's expensive. And we want to be more intentional with our money. We like to travel, and we can't afford to travel in the same way as that have done previously. We actually truly value experiences more than stuff, and more even than space in the apartment. So we're trying to work out how best to do that. Also looking at some career options at this stage, which we're not in a position to talk about publicly, but there are things that we are thinking about and considering, just to work out how, if we're in Bucharest for another couple of years, 2 or 3 years at this stage, how we can be better equipped to live our life in this place and still do the things we want to do, and be able to help other people in ways that we want to help other people. And it's tough sometimes. So working out all that. One of the big stumbling blocks for downsizing is the fact that we've got too much stuff. We've got way too much stuff. And I've got stuff that may be useful in the future, but it might not. So what do you do with it? Now, it would be a lot cheaper to rent a smaller apartment and an additional storage room than to keep renting this apartment. So that's something maybe we consider. But at the same time, it's far better to declutter and get rid of the excess stuff than it is just to store it, particularly if you're paying to store it. That's just kind of doesn't quite resonate with me. I spoke a few years ago, I think I'd shot a video on the beach in Macau during my Baby Steps Towards Minimalism series about how I went into a mall and felt queasy just because of the kind of amount of excess that was kind of there, the buy me things. Now, Macau is crazy, and Hong Kong malls were crazy, the fancy ones. So we don't have quite that kind of thing in Romania. But still, I walk around and I see all these kind of shiny things. The main supermarket is inside a shopping mall, which is slightly annoying because you have to walk past lots of other shops trying to sell you stuff before you can get there. And I don't know, I just feel uncomfortable. Maybe it's something that's weird about me. I really don't know. But this kind of battle with consumerism, it's something, and consumerism is it just feels wrong, and it's really hard to kind of explain why it feels wrong. To me, it's just, I don't know, but I would, I look around, even the stuff that I have, and I could get rid of half of it and not even think about it. I walk around shops and think, there is nothing here that I would want to spend money on. So, I don't know. This is kind of a bit of just a kind of opening my heart, really. I kind of got a bit emotional this morning about a number of things. But really, just kind of focusing on people and relationships and helping people and supporting people in whatever way, because we need to support people around us. And if we can do that, if having less stuff around, if giving stuff to people who benefit from it, or if having more money at the end of the month that we can give to help other people, all these things I think is something that for me at least is hugely important. And it's something that I've been kind of battling a little bit with lately, just kind of thinking about this thing, looking in a cupboard and seeing a box full of mic cables when everything I need mic'd up is currently mic'd up. I've got a cupboard full of microphones that I need to think about what I'm going to do with. I've got a acoustic drum kit that I may never play again. I don't know, just too much. I don't know how at this stage I'm still struggling to process how and why I bought all this stuff, and now how to deal with it in a way that isn't just adding to the problem by throwing stuff out that could be used by other people, isn't just donating stuff that is potentially of significant value when that money could be put to better use if I was to sell it, even though selling stuff is a pain. It's a real battle. But I think at the end of the day, keeping this concept of enough, kind of in your sort of core really of your being, can really help you to get towards that. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do. So I don't know whether you've ever had any feelings like this. Maybe it's only me, but I would really, value hearing your thoughts if you've gone through any of these kind of things. But thanks for listening to me ramble. Take care, and I'll see you on Thursday.